Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Bodied, a Cloud9 fancast. It is just me, your host, Havokpus, dedicated as always. Um, Conflicts, of course, due to work schedules and stuff, prevent us from having more than one person on this, so I'm just going to be doing a quick solo episode. So let's get started. And I guess the first big piece of news is from Rainbow Six, and that is that Hetty, one of the Cloud9 Rainbow Six players, has decided to leave the team. It seems kind of out of nowhere. Seems very unfortunate. I believe. Well, I can't look at the translated version, but I believe I looked at a translated version, and he has wanted to maybe go into some different directions in his career, maybe, or something. I can't remember 100%. But it was kind of sad. I'm not sure who's going to be filling in because I don't know the Korean scene that well, along with just I don't know who's still. We actually only have. Yeah, okay, I was right. We have only 3 people on the roster, so it would seem that you know since it's a 5v5 game, we would need to pick up 2 people. So, I'm somewhat interested in seeing like where uh the team goes, and since you have like 3 spots or 2 spots open, I'm sorry. You know, maybe this could be used as an opportunity to kind of elevate the team and get some better players. I believe Envy, Sweet Black, and Nova are fairly good from what I've watched. So maybe they could get someone, you know, to kind of replace the players that we've lost. It is unfortunate that Hetty left, just because he was part of the original Korean roster, and that always sucks. But hopefully our team can get better. I've been seeing some stuff from the latest like Rainbow Six event, and it got a lot of traction. And I kind of want our Rainbow Six team to be really elevated, so we can be a more competitive team. And I know that's difficult, at least for a South Korean team, because it they're not the strongest region, I believe, in Rainbow Six, from what I've heard. So it's like even if you smash, and even if you smash in other events, once you go and you know go to like an international event, it makes it difficult to really compete if like you're getting crushed by like North American and like European teams. But hopefully the team can bounce back. I'm really interested. I want to watch more of the Rainbow Six team, but it's just a thing of I can't. I physically cannot watch it because living in America, the match is always like at 4 or earlier in the morning, so it's like I'm asleep most of the time, so I just can't watch the team play, which is unfortunate. But hopefully we'll see some news on who's going to be filling in the slots, and they can make the team better. But moving on, C9 WoW, which WoWE, that's not a name that you were probably expecting to see. Our WoW team was participating in a 5v5 event. It was the Method Mayhem 5v5 tournament. And we ended up losing. We lost our first match 1-2, and then we got pretty much crushed 0-2 in the next match. 5v5 is so interesting because it's so different. It seems like, I'm not sure how much like the game has changed in terms of like patches and like balancing changes from I believe when was it was BlizzCon, I believe, where I believe we won as well. But I'm not sure what changed, but there definitely seemed to be some issues, and like people die like so much quicker in 5v5 than than 3v3, because 3v3, like, there's lots of healing and there's lots of mechanics that kind of really like uh draw out fights and kind of make it to where you know it's like, oh, you're like alive for so long, and oh, how do they live, they're on a sliver of health, it's a whole entire thing. So, I'm not entirely sure uh what the difference is. I will say that uh I lost my train of thought. I will say that it does suck. Like, it's very different, I guess, is what I'm going with. 3v3 is probably a whole different animal than 5v5. It sucks that we lost, because I was really looking forward to, like, oh boy, I can't wait to see my World of Warcraft team play and, do all this stuff. But, yeah, it sucks that we lost. I'm hoping that, we can do a whole lot better, and we can maybe see the team bounce back once the regular season for 2020 starts. I'm not sure exactly when that is, but I'm looking forward to watching it because I really love the WoW team, and you should too. They're a great bunch of dudes, and they're really, really good. Looking at their accomplishments, it's always like, oh, first place, third place, usually top three for North America. So it's like, why would you not? Why would you not root for them? But moving on, Mango was in the Smash Summit 9 tournament. He got third place, which is unfortunate. But I gotta say, this is the second event I believe that Mango has secured top three, which is very good for Mango. I think Mango, like, this year, Mango seems very driven and very, like, all in on, like, I want to get first place in these events, and I want to be like the top competitor, and he seems very driven and very motivated. Hopefully he can get a first place at an event soon. I think he's definitely not satisfied with top three. He's definitely looking like he's playing a lot better than he has been. Maybe, like, I believe he was in a slump early last year, I think. I can't remember. But he seems especially driven this year. And so I'm really excited to see what Mango can do to really push himself to try to get the big W. I know that Hungrybox is always a really tough competitor, but hopefully we can squeeze some big Mango W's soon. Moving on to Rocket League, another upsetting loss. C9 lost 2-3 to Rogue. And watching the team, they seem to really be struggling. They just seem really sluggish when moving, like, around the field. It's a lot of missing easy, like, or I would say easy. I've never played Rocket League, but it seems like they're missing shots that they could have easily, like, defended. They're just kind of running around the map, and they don't seem to be as coordinated as they should be. Everything just seems really off with them, and I'm not sure what the deal is. It's going to be really interesting to see how far the team actually goes and how well the team does this season. I think it will definitely tell what will happen to the roster, like, going into probably, like, the end of the season. If we end up getting relegated and we have to go through the relegation tournament again, I can definitely see us, like, getting a completely, like, new roster, or getting, like, one or two new players and, like, keeping Squishy or something. That's definitely a possibility, considering, like, how poorly we've been performing for the last good while. And I think it's unacceptable from a standpoint of, you've always been a top 4 team. You've always been getting top 4 results at events. You've won a world championship as well, and that was a couple of years ago, but you've won a world championship, so you shouldn't be playing at this low a level and struggling this much. So hopefully the team can sorry. Hopefully the team can do better, but I would not be surprised if we see some roster changes by the end of like this RLCS season. And lastly, I guess for some small news, CS:GO fans, get ready. This weekend is IEM Katowice. There's been a little while since our CS:GO team has been playing. They've been working hard, or hardly working. Am I right? They've been working hard and boot camping and practicing for this event. So, definitely show them some love this weekend. Keep an eye out for when those match times are if you can watch. Hopefully we'll see some really good performances. I'm really excited because I really like this new roster, and they do have a lot of promise and a lot of potential. But moving on to Overwatch League, the London Spitfire have one singular match this weekend. It's Sunday. I'm just going to do Central Time since no one else is here. 6 p.m. Central. Now you'll have to convert from my time zone, not the other way around. I feel so powerful. Sunday, February 23rd, 6 p.m. Central Time, 7 Eastern. Against the Washington Justice, and it's a very... it's so odd. The schedule feels so odd where it's sometimes like a team will only do like one match for a week instead of two. It's very odd for us, I think, in particular, because we are... it's the last match of the day, and it's like on the last... it's on the last day of the weekend, so it's like the last day for matches, and it's at the very last match. We had a week break. Hopefully we improved a bit from last week. Last week was... or not last week, 2 weeks ago, technically. We had a really unfortunate start. We lost 1-3 to New York Excelsior and then 0-3 to Paris Eternal. It was not that good of a showing, and that's to be expected from a team where this is a completely new roster and is a team of all rookie players. Except for maybe Krillin, but Krillin didn't get that much, stage time when he was on the Spitfire in the first place. So, I don't expect to see a lot of like big progress right off the bat of like, oh, we're gonna crush them and beat them. I expect us wholly to lose. I expect us to actually lose a lot of our matches this season. Next, not this weekend, but next weekend, for example, we're playing against the Houston Outlaws and the Florida Mayhem. I don't know how that's gonna go. I think that might, that probably won't work well either. And it's gonna be just a really rough season, I think, if you're a Spitfire fan, and obviously we're gonna have to see how this season lines up and where the team lies starting from week 1 all the way to week 27. How well have the Spitfire performed? Was this exactly the right call to get rid of all of your veteran players and to replace them with these like tier 2 and some tier 3 rookie players and have them try to like really improve and like make a statement on the Overwatch League? It's like going to this more like very teamwork focused, very like some of their parts, what's good overall is what's best kind of approach, which I do like. It's very different from our approach in the past of strong individual talent, and sort of this more being a greater than the sum of their parts kind of deal. It's going to be a rough season. I don't expect a lot of wins, especially after, it's going to be rough. I don't expect a lot of wins. I don't expect us to do insanely well. There's going to be a lot of... I can only imagine there's going to be a lot of subbing in and out and us trying to find what actively works and then probably settling on a starting squad, outside of like Glister and, Bernard, I think it's... and probably Sanguinar, as I guess like a core solid 3 starting players. I don't see, I don't see one person that's going to start specifically, and I think there's going to be a lot of wiggle room. So we'll have to see. Definitely tune in this weekend. if you can, support our team, even though, they're going to have a rough season. They need all the support they can get. And I think all we have left is League of Legends. Pew, pew, pew. This League of Legends season has been a pretty phenomenal thing. Cloud9 smashing the competition and looking like such a large cut above the rest. My initial prediction was we would be about fourth, going off of how Blabber and Niski had performed in 2019 as an indication. Excuse me. my stomach has all of a sudden become upset. If there's any indication from like how we performed at Worlds and how we performed last season, I put him about fourth. I thought, Niski and Blabber may be difficult to control. I wasn't sure how well Sven and Vulcan were going to play as a duo, and how Licorice was going to come in as sort of more of the leader in the team. But the team is performing exceptionally well. This looks like maybe the best Licorice has ever played, though Licorice has always been playing extremely well. Blabber is looking like the best jungler in the region. He is smashing it, and he seems to know exactly when to be super aggressive, when to be a bit more tempered, when to go for objectives, and all of this good stuff. Niski as well is looking exceptionally deadly and exceptionally just... He seems to have really evolved his strategic thinking. He's not just, I'm going to go in and fight, and we're going to win, and, I'll get a kill or something. He knows when the team can fight and when they can win, and he is especially confident in the fact that if they fight, they will win. And I'm really, really hyped to see that. And Sven and Vulcan, I think, is the real surprise. They are dominating every, single bot lane that they're playing against. Watching the TSM game specifically, there were multiple instances of Vulcan was exceptionally low, I believe, but he just would not die on Tom Kench. And he ended up, like, at one point zoning 1v5 the whole team away, just, like, by himself, just standing there as Tom Kent, and TSM couldn't do anything. So it was a really great 2-0 weekend. I think that it was especially vindicating probably for Sven to show he was definitely probably the superior player, and the fact that, TSM let him go was definitely maybe not the best decision, at least for them in terms of, here's the talent that you have lost, and trading it for Kabe. Evil Geniuses was kind of it was kind of a troll game when you see, like, Evil Geniuses just, like, I think, like, halfway through the game, they pretty much gave up because Cloud9 was just smashing them so hard that they were just, like, trying to fight and just kind of, like, killing themselves over and over. Like, Jizuke was, like, definitely struggling and doing some weird stuff at the Rumble that, he died a lot, and, it seemed like just Cloud9 proving that they are the superior team, individually as well as a whole. Going into this weekend, we play on Saturday at 5 p.m. Central, and then Sunday, the 23rd at 3 p.m. Central. Well, Saturday we're playing against Counterlogic Gaming, and Sunday we're playing against Immortals. CLG, this should be a slam dunk. They are 1-7. They are straight up looking like the worst team, and just going down the roster, they are the, maybe I would say probably the worst performing individuals. Ruin constantly getting shit on by the community for just not performing at all. Wiggly seems to be really struggling to help elevate his team, and I think that's a criticism I've always had of Wiggly. I've never been super high on him, and I've always thought that he kind of struggled at some points, and he wasn't the type of jungler that really elevates a team's play. He's just kind of at best just kind of makes it about the same. Crown, I think, is the biggest shock. They have Crown, who is he's world champion. He is this amazing, he should be this amazing mid laner who should just be absolutely crushing everybody, but he has fallen off so far, and he is constantly underperforming and constantly struggling, to make an impact. it's honestly insane. And then you have their bot lane of Stixay and Smoothie. You know, Smoothie, his best days I think were on Cloud9 when he was initially on Cloud9 for that like first 2 or 3 splits. He was amazing, and he definitely allowed Cloud9 as a team to just do really, really well. But I think since then he's kind of struggled. You know, he struggled on TSM, he struggled on CLG now. You know, I think part of it is that he does kind of muddle up the comms, you know, since he does talk so much. And it could be just his mechanical ability and decision making have also just went in a really weird direction. And I think 6A is just trying to hold his team together and to just carry as much as possible, but it's really hard when the rest of your team is struggling. As far as Immortals, I think we should be able to win, even though Immortals are in second place at 5-3. They really don't look like the tougher of the two top, you know, like second place teams. You know, FlyQuest also at 5-3. They really don't look that threatening. You know, I think it's Immortals. You know, I think against like the weaker teams, they're definitely in a position of they can probably win. But I think if you're up against, you know, if you're up against like FlyQuest, for example, maybe like Dig or TSM, I think they would, and especially Cloud9, I think they would definitely lose more than they would win. And we beat them. Honestly, it was actually only 2 weeks ago. We had already defeated them, I believe. Oh, I'm sorry. It was more than 2 weeks ago. But still, you know, we had beaten them once already. You know, this is of course our second match in like the round robin. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't defeat the Immortals, unless Immortals has like a really slick draft, and unless we make some really bad plays. We should beat Immortals. You know, Niski should dominate Ica. I think really the only threat in the roster, honestly, is Xmithy. You know, Xmithy is able to really elevate his teammates, and he's one of those junglers that you can have a roster like this. You know, you can have Ica in the mid lane, and you can have, you know, Altec Hakuho bot lane. You know, Hakuho is a really good support, but, you know, I'm not sure how I would rate Altec and Hakuho in terms of bot lane threat, you know, and so as in the top lane, you know, Xmithy really elevates, you know, his team, and when, you know, his team does well, it's usually off of the back of Xmithy making, you know, these really good plays, and playing super smart. I think as long as Xmithy doesn't have a good game and he's not making these like super intelligent decisions and really like coordinating his team in like an extremely good way, Cloud9 should win. So I think that this is going to be another 2-0 week. We're going to be sitting at 10-0, and it's going to be looking like the world is ours at this point, as long as we don't get too cocky, as long as we don't lose ourselves in our practice. This split should be ours for the taking. I don't want to say that, like, of course, like 100% indefinitely, you know, like definitely, because anything can happen still, since we're only like halfway through. But it feels like this C9 roster can definitely take it, and I'm really excited to see how that will come about once playoffs are. One last note before we close out. Frozen and I are looking for another host. Obviously, with my work schedule being as what it is, there are weeks where I cannot record. You know, being on a shift schedule, at least once in like a 6-week rotation, I'm on night shift, and I am unable to record. Even on the nights that I am free and able to record, Frozen may be, you know, backed up with work or something, and he can't record. So we would like one other host to maybe join in, so we can have someone as a third party, as well as someone who, you know, can slot in for one of us and at least have 2 people on a show, so it's not just these rambles that mostly I do as solo episodes just to fill out a week's worth of content, you know, and have something to talk about. We would really appreciate it, you know, if you have podcast experience, that would be great. Get in touch with Frozen Creek, or myself. Frozen Creek will probably make a post about it on the subreddit. And we'll see where it goes, but we really like to have someone else slot in. if we can. But anyway, that's all for today. Thank you so much for listening to Bodied. Follow us on Twitter at C9Bodied to, chat with us, see what you're thinking on all things Cloud9, and we'll see you next time.